Things Not Seen, Day 6. I glance at Alicia. She's not having such a great time either. So I say, "Hey, Alicia, want to get some more ice cream? They'll let us know if anything exciting happens, right?" Dad, I see Alicia's smile flicker when I say that. Alicia understands sarcasm, even the subtle kind. Dad doesn't know I've made a little joke. He nods distractedly and says, "Sure, you bet." So we leave the science guys in the parlor with no one but their adoring wives to cheer them on. I yank open the freezer. Mint chocolate chip or black raspberry. Alicia wrinkles her nose. "How about you count to 10 and then ask me again, without snarling?" I laugh, but only a little. "Okay, how's this? Miss, would you prefer mint chocolate chip or black raspberry?" Alicia pretends to flirt with me. She bats her eyelashes, tilts her head, and says, "Which do you prefer?" "Definitely the raspberry." She smiles and says, "Then I'll have mint chocolate chip so you can have an extra big dish of your favorite." By the time we get to the couch in the family room, I'm cured. I can I can get back to being mad at some other time. Right now, I'm just glad to be with Alicia. I hit the remote and start flipping through the channels. When I get to AMC, Alicia says, "Stop there. I love this movie." It's The King and I, the original one with the bald guy and all the singing and dancing. I watch and Alicia listens, and then I ask, "What's it like, just hearing it?" "Better than you think." But that's because I used to love this movie when I was little. I watched it about 20 times. I'm in replay mode. "So, do you see it in color?" "Yep. And I can see the ladies' dresses and the little things the kids wear on top of their heads. The whole thing. I mean, I see what I can remember, and I probably add stuff of my own. And when they almost kiss, that part gets me. I always wish the king would just grab her and just give her a big kiss." "How about other movies? Ones you haven't seen?" She shakes her head. "It's not so bad if I have an idea what the story's about. It's like a radio play with music that's too loud. When I can listen to a movie I've seen, that's the best. Like Titanic. I can see the whole thing. But for new stories, now I like books better. Then I get to make up the movie in my head. And it's weird about people I saw in movies a couple years ago. Like I'm never going to see Brad Pitt get old. He's stuck in my mind from about 3 years ago. He could keep acting till he's 80. But when I listen to a Brad Pitt movie, I'm always going to see him as a little brother from A River Runs Through It. Don't you think that's neat?" She puts the last spoonful of ice cream in her mouth. "Yeah, I guess." Alicia's quiet a minute, and I watch her face. It's the part of the movie where the kids are putting on the play of Uncle Tom's Cabin, and I'm wondering what she really sees. There's this peaceful smile on her lips, and I think that maybe it's like she's in the movie herself, now sitting at the dinner table, now running around the stage with the kids. I don't think I could ever get tired of watching her face. She shifts expression and tilts her face toward me. "You're staring at me, aren't you?" I feel myself blush. "No, liar. It's okay. I don't mind having you stare." I gulp. I don't know what to say, but I don't want to sound flustered, so I say, "Another question. What do you see when you think of me? What do I look like in your mind? Brad Pitt?" Now she's blushing too, a shy smile pulling at the corners of her mouth. "I don't know. I know you're taller than I am. I know you have a nice smile, because I can hear a smile. It's something you can't fake. But I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know if your nose is big or not. I don't know if you've got brown hair or blonde hair, stuff like that." She pauses. "And I guess it doesn't matter. I really haven't been thinking about how you might look. It's more like a feeling I have about you. I know you're honest, and you're smart, and kind, at least most of the time. Don't forget loyal and trustworthy. You've got me sounding like the perfect Boy Scout." I'm choosing words carefully. "But don't you wonder what would have happened if you hadn't been blind and I was my regular self and we just met somewhere? Like that day at the library, except we were both just high school kids? What do you think?" "I don't know. You said you were pretty popular before. The popular kids at my school don't even know I'm alive." "How come?" "Because I'm just average, and they're all good looking or rich or both or super athletes or something." "Do you really think you're average?" "I never think that. Not after getting to know you." "But that's what I mean. At school you'd have never gotten to know me. I'm one of those kids you wouldn't have looked at twice. I'd just be this idiot who bashes into you at the door of the library one day, and all your popular friends would point and say, 'Hey, way to go, dorkness.' The movie is loud and full of orchestra playing while Anna and the King of Siam twirl around and around a wide, shiny floor. But Alicia is facing me a foot away, and I can't tell what she's thinking. And I don't know if I should be talking to her this way. But you're judging them at the same time you accuse them of judging you. It's like you've got a prejudice against the popular kids, and you assume they have a bad attitude toward you. I'm not assuming anything. I'm talking about experience. You can tell if someone thinks you're nothing. Just a few weeks ago, I'm walking toward this beautiful girl named Jessica in the hall, and I smile and I look at her, and her face doesn't change. Her eyes don't connect with me. Nothing. It's like she looks right through me, like I'm not even there. Alicia's eyebrows shoot up. She looks right through you, eh? Like you weren't even there? Interesting way to describe your old self, don't you think? In the movie, the young girl who's run away from the palace has been captured, and now she's on her knees before the king, waiting for her death sentence. I see what Alicia's saying, but I'm not going to get sucked into some stupid psychobabble session, so I'm just clam up, sit back, and look at TV. Alicia senses I've turned away, so she lets the conversation drop. We're still sitting there 20 minutes later when her mom comes in. Alicia, time to go now. And Alicia stands up and takes her mom's elbow. Did they get the blanket figured out? I tense up because that's an important question right now. Mrs. Van Dorn pauses. It's just a half second, but that pause tells me everything. She says, I'm not sure. You'll have to ask your dad about that. Bobby, it was nice to visit. You have a lovely home, and I'm sure everything is going to work out all right for you. I'm standing, too, facing Mrs. Van Dorn. I say, thanks, but I don't mean it. I don't mean it because I don't believe what she said, that everything's going to work out all right. That's just something parents say. It's something they say at bedtime so you don't lie awake worrying all night like they do. They hope things will work out okay, and they might even believe things will be all right in the end, but are they really sure? And when I look at Dad's face and see the strained way he shakes hands and says goodnight to Alicia's dad, I know I'm right. No one knows anything. It's all guesswork. When they're gone, Mom starts bustling around, cleaning up and taking glasses into the kitchen, all bright and cheery. Wasn't this a lovely evening? They are such nice people. I can't get over how Julia was at Northwestern. You know, we only missed each other by 2 years, and she took some of my favorite courses, same professors, same lecture halls. David, I should have you calculate the chances of meeting someone like that. Do you know she even took that course on Rilke that I love so much, the one about the Dueno legalese? I bet the chances of finding someone like that are 1,000,000 to 1, maybe more, don't you think? Dad's not talking. He's nodding, and he's trying to smile, and he's pitching in with the cleanup, but he's still working on the Bobby puzzle. I'm at his elbow at the sink, handing him plates to scrape and rinse, and I say, so, tell me all about the blanket, Dad. Dad keeps busy with the dish brush. Nothing to tell. Leo's got a few other ideas, but basically we ran out of science. Sort of hit a theoretical dead end. He pauses and looks my way. But you know, you did a good job the way you approached that data collection. Good, clear thinking, Bobby. Thanks. So did you get any other ideas? Any breakthroughs? He focuses on the dish brush, swishing the suds around, trying to get a streak of pizza cheese off a plate without getting his cast wet. I can tell that holding a plate puts a strain on his broken wrist. Wish I had good news, Bobby, but I don't. Not tonight. And that's all he says. He doesn't try to sugarcoat it for me. He doesn't say, but you know, son, I'm sure everything's going to be just fine in the end. And later, when I'm thinking about Dad, what Dad said, and the way he said it, I tell myself that I appreciate his honesty. And I tell myself that Dad knows I'm not a little kid anymore, that he knows I'm mature enough to face facts. And I tell myself that in real life, things get messed up, and sometimes they stay that way. And I tell myself I'm proud of myself for being so mentally strong, so tough-minded. But what I focus on as I head down towards sleep is what Mom says when she tucks me in, because she says what I want to believe. Now, don't worry, Bobby. You get a good night's rest. I just know that everything's going to be fine. Chapter 19, General Bobby. I don't have a good night's rest. I miss my electric blanket. The down quilt Mom puts on my bed is too light, and it keeps slipping off during the night, and off and on all night. I keep thinking about my electric blanket. It's definitely faulty. It definitely puts out an energy field, and I definitely spent the last 7 hours of my life as a normal person tucked underneath it. After I finally do get some sleep, I wake up Tuesday morning with a new idea. Make that a huge idea, an amazing idea. Because if my condition did have anything to do with a bad electric blanket, there must be a lot of other people who bought that same electric blanket, probably thousands. And if you get a bad blanket, you send it back. You complain to the manufacturer. There could be a product recall. There would be records. And if there are records, then there are names of people. And it's just possible that any one of those people could be like me. Dad's already gone by the time I get up. Mom says he stayed up late running different tests, writing down results. Then he left for the lab early. And he said not to disturb anything in the parlor, so Dad hasn't really given up on the blanket either. Still, even if he was home now, I'm not sure I'd talk to him about my idea. Mom leaves to get ready for her 10 o'clock introduction to literature class, and I grab a pen and paper and go to the parlor the minute she's gone. I thought maybe Dad had taken the information sheets about the blanket to work with him, but they're on the piano bench. The fronts and backs of all 4 sheets are covered with Dad's tiny, precise handwriting. But I'm not interested in any of that. I don't need to formulate a workable theory. All I need is the model number and the manufacturer. It takes less than 10 seconds to jot down. My blanket is a twin-size, single-control Dynarest Supreme electric blanket, model DRST13497A. The The faded sticker on the metal bottom of the controller unit has the same numbers, and the blanket is unconditionally guaranteed for a period of 3 years by Sears, Roebuck and Company, Chicago, Illinois. On my way into the den, I do the math. The blanket isn't under warranty. Mom got me this blanket the first day we moved here from Houston, which was in March of my 5th grade year. I remember the day exactly. Cold and windy, no azaleas in bloom, no heated swimming pool in the backyard. Sears. You can't live in Chicago without knowing where Sears is. Sears Tower is the tallest thing in the city, and for a long time it was the tallest building in the world. And you think if you know where the Sears Tower is, you know where Sears is. Wrong. That's an illusion, because I do a little internet search and learned that Sears moved their company offices out to the suburbs years ago, about 35 miles west. So far away they can't even see their huge tower. I pick up the phone and start to dial the main number, and then I remember. I hang up, go to my room, get my cell phone, carry it to the den, and dial again. Thank you for calling Sears. This calling menu has changed, so please listen carefully. If you know the 5-digit extension of the party you are trying to reach, and the recording goes on for about 3 minutes. I work my way through the menus and get to the consumer merchandise customer service line. Then I have to slog through 9 choices until I finally am asked to hold for the next available customer service representative. About 14 minutes and a lot of bad music. A voice says, "Hello, this is Renee. May I help you?" I try to sound as grown up as possible, because nobody at any company ever wants to talk to a kid about anything. "Yes, Renee. I'm calling about a possible problem with my electric blanket." "Yes, sir, but first, may I have your name and telephone number?" So I give her Dad's name and the home number, and then she wants our Sears charge account number. I don't have the card with me at the moment, because all I really want is some information. "Yes, sir, I'll be happy to give you information about your Sears product. May I have the name and the model number, please?" I give her the information, and while she's tapping away on a keyboard, I say, "I need to know if there's been a problem with this blanket. Are you experiencing a difficulty in using or maintaining your Sears product, sir?" "This is tricky. Well, I'm not sure. It might be acting a little strange." "Do you use a heart pacemaker, sir?" "A what?" "A heart pacemaker, sir." "No, I just want to know if there have been any problems with this particular blanket." "Sir, the notes I have for the product show that we are encouraging any customer who has this item to send it to our customer service center and receive a comparable product of equal or greater value in exchange. Any person using a heart pacemaker should be encouraged not to use this product, and Sears will pay the shipping and handling fees for the exchange. Would you like me to go ahead and schedule a UPS pickup, sir?" "Can you tell me how many of these blankets have been returned?" "I do not have that information, sir. We are encouraging any customer who has this item to send it to our customer service center and receive a comparable product of equal or greater value in exchange, and Sears will pay the shipping and handling fees. Would you like to go ahead and schedule the UPS pickup, sir? Does anyone have a record of who has returned this product to Sears?" "I don't know anything about that, sir, but you can return that model number for a product of equal or greater value. Would you like me to go ahead and schedule a UPS pickup for your blanket, sir?" "No, no thanks. Goodbye." "Goodbye, sir, and thank you for calling Sears customer service." My next call is Alicia. "Guess what? You woke up this morning perfectly normal, and you've also figured out what's wrong with my eyes." "Nice guess. But you know my electric blanket? It's made by Sears, and when I called customer service just now and asked about this model, the lady told me that anyone who calls about it is supposed to send it back for a free replacement. And the lady asked me if I use a heart pacemaker, because the note in the file says to tell anyone with a heart pacemaker not to use it." Alicia says, "So that means something's seriously wrong with your blanket. How many have been returned?" "Don't know, but if they're offering to replace it, a lot of people must have had trouble with it. So can we talk to some of them? You get any names?" "No numbers, no names. That's why I called you. Who should I call next?" Alicia doesn't hesitate a second. "Definitely the legal department. My mom used to do public relations for big companies, and sometimes she had to do damage control. That's what she called it. You know, a company has a bad product and they fix it, and then they have to do a media campaign to make sure people know everything's all fixed. But the lawyers are always in the middle of it. So you call the legal department and you tell them you've got a question about product liability. Mom says that makes the big companies crazy. You know, like when all those tires went bad on SUVs. That's why big companies are hired jillions of lawyers. You say, 'This is David so-and-so from the Product Liability Research Center in Baltimore or somewhere, and we've gotten a report that such and such a blanket is malfunctioning.' Something like that. Just make it up. And see if you can get somebody to tell you how many claims they've had, who keeps the records, all that stuff." I gulp. I couldn't do that. They'd never believe me. But how about this? How about I read you the phone number for Sears and you call them? You sound like you know what you're talking about, and I think you're a better actor than I am. You think I'm a better actor? What does that mean? You think I'm a good liar? Is that it? Jeez, touchy, touchy. It's a compliment. I mean, you could probably sound like you know something, and I'm just going to sound like this dumb kid, that's all. So will you do it? Alicia pauses. Okay. Wait till I record the numbers. You've got a tape recorder in your phone? No, my dad got me this tiny dictation thingy last year. It's like a notepad. I can record stuff and then play it back a couple of times till it's memorized. My memory's gotten pretty good. Cool. Then I tell her the information about the blanket and the number at Sears, and she says she'll call me back. 20 minutes later, I've got my mouth full of English muffin and the cell phone rings. Hi, what's the news? No news. These people aren't giving anything away. What happened? I told the guy who answered in the legal office that I was doing a product liability inquiry about blanket model number so-and-so, and 3 seconds later, this lady named Amber Carson picks up, real serious. So I tell her I'm investigating a complaint from a family in Chicago about this blanket, and right away she just shuts down, tells me nothing. I asked her how many complaints they've had. She says, I'm not at liberty to share that information. She says, send me a letter, and that was it. End of conversation. After a pause, Alicia adds, I'm sure they have a list of people who've returned those blankets, but there's no way they're giving out any names. And you think the records are in the legal department somewhere? Sure. In their computer system. They've probably got a whole team working on bad products and recalls and claims. But think about it. If you were them, would you hand that information over just because someone asked? No, I say, but who said anything about asking? If they got it, then we go and take it. Alicia laughs. You're kidding, right? Am I? There's a hard edge to my voice, and a plan forms as I talk. You're the one who said I shouldn't just sit around for 5 days and do nothing, remember? So are you ready for a little field trip? Alicia is stunned. What? Go out there and try to steal the information? And what do you mean? Am I ready? What do I have to do with any of this? I'm the Greek warrior again, more like a general now, planning my campaign, getting my troops ready for battle. Simple. I get inside the building, find the right office, get the information, then print out a list or make a desk or something. But I can't carry floating paper or plastic around, or at least not for very long. If I was a hacker and I had a week to try to invade their computer system, I would. But I don't know how to do that. And I don't have a week, so I need someone to help. My parents and your parents are the only other candidates, since I don't think they'd get behind the idea of stealing corporate secrets. That leaves you. But you could just do like when you went to the hospital to visit your mom. No way. Too warm today. If it's 65 degrees and you wear gloves and a stocking hat and sunglasses and a scarf around your face, you look like a bank robber. And then once I got there looking very suspicious, I'd have to have a place to take off my clothes and hide them, and then come back and get them. It's too complicated. I need your help, Alicia. You be my body, and I'll be your eyes. Help me hail a cab and talk to the driver and pay the fare. Wait for me to come back and hand off the stuff. Then we take a cab home again. Silence. Then she says, what if you don't come back? Like if something happens to you? I like the way she says that, the tone of her voice, but I keep being the warrior. Nothing's going to happen. I'm the secret weapon, remember? And even if something did happen, like if it took too long and I didn't come back to you on time, say after an hour, then you find someone to help you get a cab. You can tell the guy your address, you come home. And I take care of myself, but I'm sure it'll be all right. So what do you think? Can you get out? Like tell your mom you're going to the library early or something? Yeah, I think I can get out. Bobby, are you sure about this? Are you sure this is worth doing? Sure. How could I be sure? Of course I'm not sure. But it beats doing nothing, right? I guess so. What about cab money? All set. I've got enough cash, my own money, birthdays and stuff. And if we run out, I can just walk into a restaurant or some store and I'll help myself to the register. Or maybe I'll try a little pickpocketing. No response. I'm joking, Alicia. I'm joking. Not funny, Bobby. No smile in the voice. Come on, Alicia. Lighten up. This will be an adventure. Listen, you get all set and be sure to bring your backpack and I'll meet you at the corner of 57th and Ellis in about 20 minutes, okay? And if you're not there, then I come back home and call and see what's happened, okay? Okay. Good. See you in 20 minutes. Then I push the end button on the phone before she has a chance to think some more. Because if she did that, really thought about it, she'd probably say, no way, and maybe she'd be right. So I run up to my room, pull off my clothes, and roll up a handful of $20 bills. On my way through the kitchen, I stop and write a short note. Mom, gone to Alicia's. I'll call you later. Bobby. And that's true. I probably will end up at Alicia's house, just not right away. And then I'm down the kitchen steps and out the side door. I'm off to commit my first real crime. Chapter 20. Destinations. About half hour later, I'm shivering, standing at the corner of 57th and Ellis. My hand is cramping up from holding the roll of money so tightly. I wait till the coast is clear and tuck the cash between my left arm and my rib cage, hidden by a layer of non-reflective flesh. Alicia is late. I look at the bank clock and decide to give her until 11:22. Then I see her tapping toward me, and I start trotting the half block to meet her. It's too crowded, so I can't call out, "Hey, Alicia," or something. I get close, and I'm about to say, "Quiet, hi," but there's something about the look on Alicia's face that stops me. I look behind her, and I see the problem. The blind girl has a shadow. It's her mom. Mrs. Van Dorn is about 30 feet back, holding a book open in one hand and glancing down at it every few steps so she won't look odd for walking so slowly. Falling in step alongside Alicia, I whisper, "Don't stop and don't look toward my voice. Your mom is behind you." Without breaking stride or turning her head, Alicia says, or hisses, "I know. She can always tell when I'm lying, and it makes me crazy. She's so stupid that she thinks I can't tell when she's following me. Our front door makes this squeaking groan, and I can hear it half block away. So what are you going to do?" "Go to the library like I told her, and once I'm there, she'll get bored and leave." We get to the library, and Alicia goes in and up the elevator, and her mother just sits down on a bench out front, reading her book and glancing up at the doorway now and then. The look on Mrs. Van Dorn's face makes me feel sorry for her. She seems so sad and alone. She's wearing the same look I keep seeing on my mom's face. I'll walk quietly into the den or the kitchen, and Mom will be in the middle of something, but stopped, not paying attention to the computer or the book she's reading, and she'll have that same kind of sad, distant look in her eyes. And I always have a feeling that she's thinking about me. I think Alicia's mom must do a lot of worrying, too. 10 minutes go by, and then Mrs. Van Dorn gets up, heaves a big sigh, puts her book under her arm, and starts walking slowly back toward her house. She can go be sad and lonely at home. When I'm sure she's really gone, I go up to the third floor of the library, find Alicia, and in 5 minutes we're looking for a cab to take us to the Sears corporate headquarters in Hoffman Estates. The first two cabs refuse the fare, and I don't blame them. It's about a 40-mile trip. The third cabbie looks at Alicia and says, "For you, $55, one way." "Okay," I whisper. "Okay," Alicia nods the driver, and we get inside. When we're settled, I take her right hand and press my money into her palm. Our driver heads straight for Lakeshore Drive north. There's a thick metal plexiglass divider between the front and back seat, plus the driver listening to some tiny music. Greek, I think. So Alicia and I talk softly about the plan, which is pretty basic. I go snoop, she waits, I come back, we leave. But where should I wait? I can't just hang around in some lobby for an hour. Of course you can. Lobbies are made for loitering. Great, I just love to loiter. So I say, fine, here's a better idea. When we get there, you ask somebody where you go to get a job application. Alicia wrinkles her nose. A job application? Me? Sure, companies love it when people like you apply for jobs. The eyebrows go up. People like me, she says. You mean people with disabilities, right? Go ahead and say what you mean, Bobby. I know I've got a disability, okay? I'm not a baby. Just say it. Disability. The driver is craning his neck, looking at Alicia in his mirror, uneasy about this angry outburst from his lone passenger. I whisper, "Shh, the driver. Okay. People who have disabilities. They'll be happy to interview you because they actually have to prove that they tried to hire everyone. It's a federal law or something." Alicia hisses, "It's called the Americans with Disabilities Act, Mr. Smart Guy, and I know all about it, okay? Fine." I step back and look out the window past the lakeside park to the choppy waters of Lake Michigan. A mile or so out to sea, a huge tanker is steaming north. I wish I were on it. Once we're on the Kennedy Expressway, we start talking again and work out the rest of the plan. Nothing much to it. And then I look out the window and start counting the planes circling O'Hare Airport. I spot 7 without even trying. Then I start watching Alicia's face, and it's amazing to me because I can look at everything. The whole overpopulated, over-traveled, over-trucked, over-paved, over-billboarded, full-color, three-dimensional world zipping by at 70 miles an hour, and I can get bored. And Alicia's got nothing but her own thoughts and whatever she sees inside her head. And she's not bored at all. She's soaking up the trip, completely alert. I watch as she has a slight response to every little hum and thump of the tires, the jangling radio music, the flutter and rush of air in the window, the static and garbled burst from the driver's two-way, the rumble of a big Kenworth tractor, the whine of a jet on approach, an ambulance screaming past on the eastbound side, a constant flow, bright, fresh pictures with every second. As we sway and bounce and change lanes and brake and accelerate and feel our way along the highway, her nostrils flare like a wild pony sniffing at the wind, and I know Alicia is also processing the smells, the exhaust and the kerosene, the accumulated scent of 1,000 cab passengers, that half-eaten tin of salad on the seat by the driver, an ocean of airborne information to sift and sort. And watching her, I'm not bored. Still, it's a long ride. When we finally arrive, I'm not prepared for the scale of things. The concrete and the glass buildings are huge, not tall, but wide and deep and far apart. The place looks more like a college campus than the home of a retail giant. It's like they took the whole huge black Sears tower, broke it up into short chunks, painted it with friendlier suburban colors, and then spread it out over 200 acres of farmland. Bike paths, a fake pond or two, the basketball court, a huge daycare facility. Very pleasant unless you don't know where you're going. The young woman at the reception desk inside the foyer of the main building looks at Alicia, takes in the whole picture, and then says, "Miss, may I help you find someone?" Alicia goes to work. She faces the woman's voice, smiles, and says, "Yes, I'd like to speak with someone in the employment office. I don't have an appointment. I'm just looking for some information about hiring practices for persons with disabilities." "Of course. May I have your name?" "Alicia Van Dorn." "Please wait just a moment, Miss Van Dorn." While the lady punches out numbers on her phone, I scan the Sears Merchandise Group map and directory on the wall beside the desk, and I find what I need. Legal Services is in a building about a quarter-mile away. I make a mental note of where the employment offices are, and now I can leave. That's what Alicia and I planned. She's going to do her thing, and I'm going to do mine. When I'm done, I'll find her. It was 11:45 when we got out of the cab. The deal is that if I don't find her by 1:15, she has someone call her a cab. She goes back to the library in Hyde Park. But I don't leave. I wait. And I can't talk. But I tap lightly on Alicia's cane, and she stiffens, then smiles slightly and motions with her head and eyebrows, urging me to get going. But I wait anyway. About 2 minutes pass, and the young man wearing chinos and a blue dress shirt with a loud tie comes out of the corridor and walks right over to Alicia. "Miss Van Dorn?" Alicia turns and smiles. "Yes, I'm John Freeman. I'm with personnel, and I'd be happy to try to answer your questions. Let's head this way. Would you like to take my arm?" He turns and offers his left arm, elbow crooked just right. He's helped blind people before, and he looks like a nice enough guy. Alicia says thanks, lifts the end of her cane off the floor, and takes hold of his elbow, and they're off. And now I've got 1 hour and 10 minutes to find the names of some unhappy customers. Chapter 21. Findings. Newsflash. Invisible people make excellent spies and thieves. Finding exactly what I want at the legal department is ridiculously easy. Access through the security doors? A snap. I wait for a slow-moving person of considerable size and slide through the door right behind his behind. Finding the right information? A cinch. I've got a name to work with. Amber Carson is the woman who stonewalled Alicia on the phone about 2.5 hours ago. I find her office on the 4th floor, which is the only hard part, and then I wait patiently in an empty cubicle until she goes to lunch at 12:25. Miss Carson apparently trusts all her co-workers because she doesn't log off her computer, which is good because it saves me the trouble of finding Alicia and telling her that this is going to take a lot longer, which it would have because I'd have to wait until Amber Carson got back from her lunch. Then I'd have to had to look over her shoulder to learn her password, and then wait for her to leave her office again so I could use her computer. I don't know if I could ever be a good lawyer. Lawyers are organized. The folks at Sears keep their files in such good order that I bet I could start from nothing and find whatever I needed in 15 minutes or less. But I don't even have to do an actual search. That's because I've got inside information. I happen to know that Amber Carson accessed the very file I'm looking for earlier today when Alicia called. So all I have to do is use the Recent Documents utility on her computer. Point, click, and there it is, which is kind of a shame. I went to a lot of trouble to memorize the model number of the blanket, all 10 characters, and now I don't even need to use it. The database notes show the entire history of my doomed electric blanket. Turns out 9,308 blankets were sold before it was discovered that some percentage of the controller units had been manufactured with faulty resistors. As of today, 379 consumers have complained, and of those, 163 have accepted a new blanket. When the problem was first noticed, the new legal counsel had advised that there should be no product recall, but rather customer service should go with a replace as requested plan. Only one customer had complained that he believed that the blanket made his heart pacemaker malfunction, but there was no injury, no lawsuit. Still, to be on the safe side, the legal staff set the policy that any complaining customer with a pacemaker should be advised to discontinue the use of the blanket and return it immediately for refund, credit, or exchange. I'm glad I know enough about computers because all I really want from the file is the list of 379 people who complained about the blanket. And with a couple of simple sort functions, I've got their names and addresses and phone numbers isolated in a list. Printing out the list would make a big stack of paper unless you know how to format, which I do. And it turns out that Amber Carson is an important enough person in the Sears legal department to have her own little laser printer on a work table by a window that looks out over the rolling lawn. So I put the whole list into 7-point type, single-spaced, format it into 6 columns, and print it out. I end up with just 3 pages, very small type, but readable. I fold the stack of pages inward from top to bottom 3 times and then fold the result in half lengthwise twice more. What I end up with is a wad of paper about 1 inch wide and 2 inches long, the perfect size to stick up into my left armpit. Gross and uncomfortable, but effective. As long as I keep my left arm clamped against my side, the paper is completely hidden. By 12:47, I'm on my way to hunt for Alicia. I could just go to the main entrance and wait for her because that was our plan, but what's the fun of that? I'd rather track her down. I glide through 3 different doors, then down 1 stairwell, along 1 corridor, through 1 last door, and then outside. It's a lot more spring-like in Hoffman Estates than it was in Hyde Park. People are all over the place, eating lunch, resting, talking with friends. They look like creatures who have crawled out of burrows to soak up some sunlight, except for the smokers. There's a little group of them outside almost every doorway, standing around looking sort of offensive. They're not outside for the fresh air. I hold my breath when I go past so I don't have to smell that stuff. The map at the reception area said the personnel offices are in a building that's close to the main entrance. Again, I wait for a person to help me through the security doors. Once inside, I'm lost. I'm on the ground floor, and it's an area about the size of 3 football fields. There are partitions and corridors, nice offices around the perimeter, paintings and posters everywhere, bright and cheery, but it's all still a maze. This is an employees-only area, so there are no signs, no helpful maps or diagrams, except for the occasional emergency evacuation poster. So I just wander. My shoulder is aching, and my arm is starting to go to sleep from the pressure of the clump of paper in my armpit. I'm almost ready to give up and head for our rendezvous spot. Then I hear Alicia's laugh, complete with that little snort at the end. I follow the sound to a glass-walled conference room where she's sitting with a bottle of Snapple and a thick blue folder on the table in front of her. Alicia's smiling and nodding, moving her head to follow the voices of the people at the table. She looks like she could have just graduated from college with honors and 3 proposals of marriage. Apparently the guy who picked her up from reception is the big joker, because as I approach, he says something I can't quite hear, and Alicia and the other 2 people in the room start cackling again. Also at the table is a man who looks as old as my dad, but with a wrinkly face with a gray mustache and not much hair on top. He's wearing incredibly thick glasses. The 4th person is a woman who's maybe 30, maybe younger. She's got short blonde hair and big earrings, and she's wearing a soft gray pants and jacket outfit with a pink shirt. A nice enough face, a good smile, but squinting. Then I see this lady's like Alicia. She's got a white cane on the floor by her chair. The meeting's just breaking up, and I'm outside looking in. I get too close to the glass, my breath fogs it up. So I move back a little. I watch Alicia. She shakes hands, first the older man and then the woman. She smiles, and hand clasps are so strong, so real and warm, and it's like this wave sweeps over me and my eyes get blurry and I swallow hard. Alicia takes the arm of the younger man, and I turn and walk away fast. I don't want her to know I saw any of this. I don't want her to feel like I've been spying on her. I know she came on this trip to help me out, but this meeting she just had, these people she's met and talked to and laughed with, this is something she's done on her own. It's part of her life, not mine. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm in the reception area when Alicia and her guide appear, and I keep well away. Another warm handshake, and then he's gone. And the woman at the desk says, "Alicia, I noticed you arrived by cab earlier. Would you like me to call one for you?" Alicia hesitates, so I hurry over and gently tap on her cane. She's startled, but doesn't show it, and then says to the lady, "Yes, that'd be great. And be sure the driver knows this is for a ride to Hyde Park in Chicago. Some drivers don't want to go that far. And thank you." Certainly, we get good service from the local cab company. They'll take you wherever you need to go. There's a bench to the left outside the front entrance if you'd like to wait outdoors. Otherwise, I can show you to a seat inside the doorway. Alicia smiles again, thanks, and heads for the doorway. Thinking I'll be helpful, I take hold of her cane out in front of her hand. She stops and shakes her head sharply. I pull my hand away, then follow her outside. I wait until she's found the bench and sits down. No one's near, so I say, "I got in," and I printed out a long list of names. "Can I put it in your backpack?" Alicia nods, swings the pack off her back, and unzips the main compartment, holding it open. There, in the bag, I can see the thick blue folder that she had in the conference room. I glance around, take the list from under my arm, and drop it in. Alicia feels it hit the backpack, so she pulls the zipper closed, swings the bag behind her, and loops the straps back over her shoulders. She whispers, "So, you got something?" And I whisper back, "Yeah." The cab that arrives has no divider between the front and back seats, so I can't talk to Alicia. There's nothing to do but settle back in the seat and look out the window. The outer highways aren't too crowded, but when we get closer to O'Hare, everything bogs down. The cab is crawling through afternoon traffic. I'm 3 feet away from the other 2 people, and I can't talk to either of them. I've never felt this alone. And the worst part is that Alicia seems perfectly content not to talk. She seems glad that she doesn't even have to try. The driver looks up into his mirror and says, "My sister, she works at Sears out in Rockford. Good company, good benefits." Alicia nods and smiles, then turns her face towards the window. The cabbie makes a few other attempts to get a conversation going, but Alicia just nods or murmurs a little, so the guy gives up and punches up a country station on the radio. It's a slow ride home. It's almost 3, and right on schedule, the cab arrives at my house. I've got the list of names stuffed back under my arm. The driver puts the car into park and says, "That'll be $58, miss." Alicia pushes her door open, and then I scramble out. Then I lean back inside and I whisper, "Call you later, and thanks." Alicia nods to me, then faces the cabbie and says, "I'm sorry, I just remembered an errand I have to run. Could you drop me at the big library on 56th Street between University and Ellis? Because that was our plan." The driver shrugs and puts the car back in gear. "It's your money." Alicia closes her door, and the cab pulls away. I watch her go. There's a gust of wind from the east, and I shiver. I turn to go inside, and I feel like something has ended, or maybe begun, or maybe both.